Ceann, after careful consideration of the track record of this government in the areas of crime, policing and addressing the root causes of crime, the Labour Party will not be supporting the government's motion. We did not rush to political point scoring in the aftermath of November the 23rd. We were traumatised when the news filtered through of a vicious assault on innocent schoolchildren and their carer. That shock was compounded when we saw images of law and order breaking down in the centre of our beloved city. We didn't look for political advantage. We didn't join the calls for the Minister or Commissioner to resign, as our first instinct was to focus on the far right and the depleted and demoralised state of An Garda Síochána. The time for political accountability has now arrived. It is important in a debate as partisan as this to point to the Minister's successes. Her advancement on the Domestic, Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Agency Bill is to her credit. Her support of Brendan Howland's COCO's Law initiative to criminalise the non-consensual distribution of intimate images, her move to tackle stalking and sexual harassment, and her prioritisation of hate crime legislation. These measures are dismissed by some in this chamber as culture war issues. Tell that to the parents of cyber-bullied suicidal children, to women who have been sexually assaulted, raped or beaten to a pulp in their own homes, or to those who live under the constant fear of being attacked for who they are. So, Minister, you have had your successes and we have worked with you to achieve them. And your failures are not yours alone. They must be shared across government, and the government needs to take responsibility for them. It is a cross-government failure to properly resource An Garda Síochána, to bring the Garda numbers up to a level needed to match the increase in the size of the Irish population and the changing nature of modern policing. It makes no sense that we have a Garda force at the same level it was 20 years ago, with a population which has grown by over 1 million people in that time. There is a lack of civilinisation in the Garda force, 20% here compared to 50% in the UK, leading to more Gardaí doing more administration than ever before. It is a cross-government failure to not tackle the morale, recruitment and retention issue in An Garda Síochána. The statistics don't lie in terms of Garda resignations in 2023. 142 at the end of October this year, 5 times the number of 2013. The Gardaí threatened industrial action in October, which was averted at the last minute. You still insist on policing this city on overtime. The promised 1,000 extra Gardaí has not materialised, with only 633 trainees entering Templemore this year and an intake from January being brought forward to Christmas in an apparent attempt to massage the figures. Even in this debate, the Taoiseach has said the number is 800, Minister Martin has said the number is 700, the Garda Commissioner has said the number is 633. It is a cross-government failure to properly tackle the far right. No myth-busting public information campaign to dispel the lies they are propagating. It appears the government feels that they'll wear themselves out. So if they close down libraries or burn out tents or riot at the Dáil or block the Port Tunnel or place blockades on roads or spread misinformation online or protest at accommodation centres, they'll eventually get tired. Well, they didn't. They just set O'Connell Street on fire. Your failure is threatening the safety of everyone they target. You have also isolated Minister O'Gorman and given him zero cross-departmental support. We're now at the point where, at the very moment people of colour are feeling most uneasy about wandering the streets of Dublin, you've decided you can no longer put a roof over the heads of people seeking international protection. What a colossal failure. It is a cross-governmental failure to engage in genuine reform of our prison system, our drug policy, or to properly tackle the causes of social exclusion. Our prison system is vastly overcrowded. In September, the Inspector of Prisons criticised the degrading conditions in some overcrowded prisons. Governors tell me too many prisoners are there because of addiction issues or mental health challenges. Your response? We need more prison spaces. On drug reform, you show no appetite to grab the historic opportunity the Drug Citizens Assembly has offered you. 6,400 people charged with possession for personal use alone this year. A complete waste of Garda time, but you've shown no vision for change. Disgracefully, you've made no effort to open the medically supervised injecting facility, even as a mobile service, because the lives lost to addiction are not a high priority for your government. Your rhetoric in these last 12 days gives us no confidence that you have a real interest in addressing the root causes of crime. Those young people on the edges, seeking empowerment and respect, so vulnerable to a drug gang or a hate movement, who knows what buttons to press, and you have handed them more material. They need a good, honest beating. Social welfare deducted from them, and you use the term scumbags. There isn't a youth worker in the city who doesn't think that you've all made their jobs more difficult. Would you call a tax-evading farmer, businessman or banker a scumbag? DEIS principals have begged you to address intergenerational trauma within the most acutely disadvantaged children, and you've said you'll review it in 2024. And the very section of An Garda Síochána that can do the most in building relationships on the ground, fixing issues before they start, Community Gardaí, is the area under most strain from your failures. Housing is still a national disaster, with thousands of children in sheltered accommodation. We have one of the highest overdose rates in Europe. 23% of Irish workers are in low-paid work. Minister, you have to deal with the issues we have raised. You can't accuse us of playing politics. You can't accuse us to have acted inappropriately, as it wasn't us to produce photographs of vulnerable individuals in the Dáil chamber. You can't shout Jonathan Dowdall, the IRA or the Special Criminal Court at us. You can't accuse us of playing both sides on immigration in local communities, as you know that is not the Labour Party way. Your post-riot announcements regarding the policing authority and Twitter have both been flatly contradicted by those involved. We have no confidence in your government's management of justice issues in our country. The people of Ireland deserve so much better. They deserve vision, ambition and an agenda with social justice burning at its core. We're not playing politics. We didn't ask for this debate. If you've asked this House to place confidence in you, we cannot do that for the reasons I have outlined.
Hear, hear.